Kent Spitfires turned a bad start to their latest NatWest T20 Blast game at the Brighton and HoveJobs.com county ground into a thrilling 3-run victory over the Sussex Sharks, Kent ending a poor run to keep alive their hopes of getting into the knockout stages of this season's competition. Chris Nash won the toss and decided to field after a damp day on the south coast in a game which both captains admitted at the toss was a must-win match if their sides were going to advance in this season's competition. Daniel Bell-Drummond pulled the 5th ball of the night for a 6. But Rob Key was out in the 3rd over, pushing at a wideish ball from Lewis Hatchett to Luke Wright at backward point to go for 11 with the score on 27. Sam Northeast had a few swings and misses but was then strangled down the leg side off Yasser Arafat's first ball at the start of the 6th over. He was out for 5. The Spitfires got to 45 for 2 at the end of the power play, their average score in the first 6 overs this season, but they then lost their 3rd wicket in the next over, with Fabian Cowdrey given out LBW to a slider from Will Beer, although there was an inside edge involved. With Darren Stevens now joining Bell-Drummond, the next partnership was going to be crucial, but it lasted only an over as Stevens was also LBW, this time to Stephen Pilot for 1. That left the visitors on 56 for 4 after 8 and in some trouble. They now had to consolidate, getting to 61 for 4 at the halfway stage. Beer was causing real problems, and when Bell-Drummond tried to hit him against a spin, he offered a simple catch to right in the covers. He was out for a run of ball 34 at 62 for 5, and Kent needed to find some boundaries from somewhere. Alex Blake did just that by driving Beer over extra cover and right out of the ground. A superb shot. Sam Billings also decided to take Beer over the top but hold out to Chris Jordan in the deep, the leg spinner finishing with the best figures of his T20 career of 3 for 18. Pilot's 4 overs meanwhile cost only 17 runs. Because of those two, Kent's 100 didn't arrive until the 17th over, and straight after it did, Adam Ball was caught by Nash for 13, as the Spitfires had no option but to go for their shots. But the same over from Jordan ended up being a very costly one. 2 wide balls, one which flew to the boundary, were followed up by a no ball, which Blake hammered for 6. The free hit was also hit into the distance by Blake, as the 18th over of the innings went for 24, that over alone giving Kent the chance of securing a challenging score after all. Blake was suddenly unstoppable. He struck a 3rd maximum of 3 successive deliveries that he'd faced. He was leading a strong finish for the Spitfires. His innings was in a different class than the rest. Ben Harmison was the latest to fall cheaply, nicking Yasser Arafat behind to leave the total on 128 for 8 with 14 balls left. But Blake thumped his 5th maximum in the last over to get to a game-changing half-century of just 31 balls. He'd hit only 1-4 but cleared the rope several times to at least give his side a chance of defending a total in this very important contest. Yasser Arafat bowled James Treadwell with the penultimate delivery of the innings, but with Blake ending on a thrilling 53 from 32 balls, the Spitfires had managed to get to 149 for 9, 59 runs coming off the last 5 overs to set up a game. What a game it turned out to be. Wright got off to his usual good start by lifting Mitch Claydon down the ground for an early 6, as 14 runs came off the opening 2 overs of the reply. But Nash was the first of 2 wickets to fall in over number 3. He pulled a delivery from Harmison to Ball to go for 6. While 2 balls later, Luke Wells followed for a duck, the left-hander getting too much underneath his shot to offer Cowdrey a catch inside the rope. Wright should have gone in the 6th over, by the end of which the Sharks had struggled to 30 for 2, and then in the 7th he was out for 17, Treadwell bowling a man he was playing with in the Championship this week. 22-year-old Craig Kachopa made his debut for the Sharks but was out for 11, he being the 4th man to fall with a total on 36, and then 5 runs later, Matt Machin drilled this ball from Cowdrey to Blake at long off. So now it was Sussex who were in a mess on 43 for 5 at the halfway stage, now needing a further 107 runs to win off the last 10 overs. They needed some big overs, and they got one when Ben Brown hit Cowdrey for 2 sixes in his last over, which rather ruined his figures. He still ended with 2 for 28 from his 4. Jordan then launched into Harmison as 30 runs were taken off overs 14 and 15, which left the home side with a target of 58 from the last 30 deliveries. It had been a roller coaster of a game, and Kent again had the edge when Brown, having made an important 33 off 22, was very well held by Cowdrey, who was having a good night. With a total on 99 and with 51 required off 23, Yasser Arafat was the 7th man out, Treadwell coolly claiming a catch of his own bowling. The man on loan at Sussex in the Championship ended with the exceptional figures of 2 for 12 from his 4 overs. It looked as if that was that as far as the Sharks were concerned, but Beer continued his excellent night by hitting 3 maximums in the space of 6 deliveries, 2 of them off Claydon and 1 off Harmison. This game had switched one way and then the other, and it was almost impossible to call a winner as Beer brought the target down to 21 off the last 8 deliveries. He'd made 25 from only 12 when he leant back once more to go big, but missed this time and was bowled by Harmison. But Pilot hit his first ball to the rope to leave Jordan on strike for the final over, with 17 more needed to pull off a wonderful win. Claydon delivered 3 excellent balls, and so this 6 from Jordan turned out to be a little too late. Indeed, the game was lost by the time that he was caught in the deep by Harmison off the penultimate ball, his 26 delivery 37 not being quite enough. The Spitfires had taken a game they looked certain to lose until Blake took over by 3 runs, and that gave them a win for the first time in 7. And it's one which keeps them in this competition, although they have a very tough test against Essex immediately. As for Sussex, not even wins from their last 3 games is likely to see them into the knockout stages this year. Kent probably still need to win their last 3.